going on, guys? Out here in Lanier this morning. It's Thursday and we just entered the Hammonds digital tournament. This tournament goes from 7 to 12. It's a 5-fish limit. It's pretty cool because you get to upload your fish as you go, so you kind of know where you're standing. We just launched, ran down the lake a little bit. We're going to start in the back of the creek right here. We got about 10 to 15 spots we're going to try to hit, and then we're going to work our way out to the main lake as the day goes on. But we'll keep y'all posted. We're going to try some different top waters and flukes and really try to figure out what these fish want early and try to go off that and just let them tell us what kind of mood they're in this morning. But it should be a fun tournament. I like doing these because it's a fun change rather than just boxing them up and waiting till weigh-in. You kind of know where you're at, you know a bar you need to hit. But we'll keep y'all posted and looking forward to it. What's going on, guys? Just got done with the Hammonds digital. This is actually the day after. I want to do a short recap for y'all and just go over a couple of the setups I used. We ended up getting 4th place out of about 17-ish boats, so not a terrible tournament, but not what we were hoping for, obviously. But towards the end of the day, I did manage to catch one that was 470, so that was our big fish of the day. Ended up missing big fish by I think 0.8. Someone had a 478, so almost got that, but wasn't able to pull that off. And I want to take a second and just go over a couple setups that I'd be throwing right now on Lanier, and a lot of these are the exact setups I used in that short little highlight video I threw together. If y'all like that kind of more condensed, not drawn out video, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna try some different stuff and just see what really works. But nevertheless, let's jump into a couple of these setups and some things that y'all should be throwing right now on Lake Lanier. So the first setup I have here is the 852S G Loomis NRX. This is probably a little bit overkill for a fluke, but it's a rod I have really fallen in love with, and I can do a lot of different things from winter to fall to summer on. So this is just a white fluke right here, and I have that rigged up on a number 3 cover shot worm hook. That's a really good hook I found for this, and something I also like to do on this fluke that I haven't seen a lot of people do is I take a little bit of a lead suspend strip. You can see right there. I think Storm makes those suspend strips like $7 for 100. Super inexpensive, but it allows your fluke to have a little bit more weight, so you can hit those fish on live scope and make a little bit further cast, and also get that bait a little bit lower in the water column to reach those fish that are set up a little bit deeper on those piles. And when they're not wanting to come up and eat a topwater or a jointed swim bait or something like that, that fluke is always something that's going to be able to call them out of that brush and really just catch them from the early morning to late afternoon. That's a bait I'll always have tied on pretty much now until November. And just, I like throwing that plain white. I've played with a lot of other cool colors, but for me it's kind of an odds thing. I like to run as many piles and high percentage areas as I can and just get that bait in front of a lot of fish. So white just seems to pull them about better than any other color, just due to how much of a white has a presence in the water. It's really loud and it can really get those fish's attention. So I have that on a 3000 sustain with a 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. But that'd be a bait I would never go to Lake Lanier in a summer, spring, fall, I would never go without a fluke on your front deck. Secondly, and equally as important, a bait that will not leave my front deck the entirety of the summer is a chug bug. I have that outfitted with owner split rings. I like to change out all my terminals on my top waters just so I have the security. I know I have the best stuff on there. I have that on a 854 G Loomis. It's a 7-1 heavy fast. It's kind of a weird top water rod, but it's just for this chug bug, because if I want that bait to spray and really displace a lot of water, I need something with a little more backbone to get it to really work how I like it to. I have that on 12-pound big game, which is pretty much the only line I will throw on that chug bug. And I also like to put the Gamakatsu number 4 2X hooks on there. I like this 2Xs. They're a little bit stronger than your traditional gauge hook, and just gives you that security that, you know, if you hook a 3+ pound fish, that you'll be able to get them in and you won't have them straighten them out or anything like that. But that chug bug, day in and day out, it's a top water. They will eat all day long on Lanier. It's a lot more consistent than walking baits or something like that. There's a lot that goes into working that bait properly that I don't think a lot of people understand, and it's something you see a lot of people throw, but very rarely do you see someone kind of explain how to properly work that. So I do like to get it to spray and displace as much water as I can. The third setup I want to go over with y'all is, this is more conditional, but also something that will never leave my front deck. This is a 125 white Seville. This is actually a Gen 1 I got painted. There's a lot of the newer ones. I haven't played with those yet, but I'm sure they'll work just as well. I have that on a 705 Dobbins CB. This is a phenomenal rod for anything treble hook related. It's got a really good parabolic bend, and it'll just keep them pinned all the way to the boat. It's a great rod. I throw it on my small crankbaits and other top waters. I run that on 12-pound FC Sniper. A little bit lighter than a lot of people, but I like to get that Seville to really run true. And when you are burning it, you need all the odds in your favor. So that 12-pound line just gives me a little bit better action than a lot of people, and I think that helps me put a couple extra in the boat. As far as the terminal goes, I run a number 4 Gamakatsu G Finesse up front, and then I run a feathered treble. It's also a number 4 from Gamakatsu on the back. It just gives it that little bit of something extra for those fish to see and be able to track. So that Seville is something I'll pick up if you get some cloud cover, if you get some really good chop on the water, and that top water and the fluke aren't producing that well. It's kind of conditional, but if you can figure out when to throw it, you can put some really good fish in the boat. And lastly, this is a bait that is also conditional, more so than anything else here. It's not something I'm just going to go out there and throw all day long, but when you get a lot of boat traffic or the wind picks up and you're having trouble getting these fish to come up out of the brush or long points, whatever you are fishing, and you need something that's going to really displace water and cause a lot of commotion, this IMA little stick 125 is a bait that had a lot of popularity in the past few years, but it's kind of fallen off, and I haven't heard that many people talk about it. I changed out all the split rings on there to owners and put those Gamakatsu 2Xs on here as well. And especially if you are throwing straight braid on your top waters, you will need to up to the 2X size to the hook, just so you have that security and not bend them out. Because on braid, I've opened up a lot of hooks on some big fish, and I've just learned if you put those 2Xs on, you're going to be better off and you'll land a lot more fish. I got that on a 703, which is a good top water rod. This is just a Fury. You don't need anything too crazy for top water fishing, just something parabolic that bends throughout the entire rod so you can keep those fish hooked up all the way to the boat. I run that on 40-pound 832 braid, and this is just a Shimano Phantom. But like I said, if this is a really good bait late afternoon, a lot of boats out, wind, all that. If you have a lot of commotion going on, this is something you want to pick up. But these are just 4 of the setups that I would have on my deck from now pretty much till the end of summer, and even moving into that fall transitional period. These are day in and day out producers that will always put fish in your boat, but it mainly comes down to understanding how these fish are set up and when to throw which one. Like I said, the fluke, you can pretty much catch them on it all day long, and it'll never fail you. But catching some of those bigger fish, you're going to need to be able to read the conditions and figure out when can I pick up a big walking bait, when can I mix in that hard jointed swim bait, and that's really the difference maker. But if y'all would like to come out and learn some of these techniques and understand how these fish are set up on live scope and really understand why each work at what time, I'd love to have y'all out on a trip. Y'all can check out my website, I'll link it down below, and you can see all my trip information and stuff like that. But like I said, we had a fun tournament, ended up getting 4th, not what I was hoping, but those fish are kind of weird in the morning, but we did what we could, and we capitalized from that 10:30 to 12 period and put some really nice ones in the boat. But those are just a couple of the rods I would have. If y'all have any questions, leave them down below. And if y'all like this kind of shorter, more in-depth video where I go over my setups, just let me know and I'll try to incorporate that below. But y'all give me a like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next video.